Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back. Today we are going over all the wonderful spooky reads that we read through October and seeing how our witchy reading goal worked out. Witchy, magical, yeah, pretty much everything had magic. Everything had magic. Almost everything had witches. So we're gonna see how they all shaped out. I'm excited and yeah, maybe we'll try to just keep it brief because it is 11 books. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. Normally it doesn't work out. The first book of the month was Babel by R.F. Kuang. This one I had that I wanted to try and do in September, but my library could not get back their copy until all of a sudden October, and so it got squeezed into my October. And this is the first one I actually finished in October because I ended up audiobooking and physically copying it together. I did do a kind of mini review for this with my thoughts and feelings, and now having had time to think about it, I still think it rounds off at 4 stars. Babel by R.F. Kuang came out a few months ago, and this one is mostly focusing on our main character Robin. You are seeing through his perspective except for brief interlude snippets at different sections of the book. You will see through a few of his friends' perspectives as well. And I do enjoy this part of having our 4 main characters, all of them with slightly different backgrounds, so that way you get these different personalities working together as they're all college age. So we have the dark academia vibe, and though it takes place over years, it's taking place in Oxford, so it's cold and like dreary kind of, so you get the fall vibes from it too a little bit because of the temperature and it's being dark and all of that. But all 4 of these main characters we have are part of Babel, which is the linguistics department at the Oxford University. They're one of the best linguistics departments in the world. And this book is not just historically fiction, because in this version of our world, they use silver bars to do lots of things. Like they have used silver to make carts move on their own, to make steam-powered ships move faster. They use silver for everything. And by they, we mean the British Empire that is, colonizing, taking over the world. And nobody quite understands, though, how what they're doing is solely for this silver. Like not just the silver, like the metal itself, but as they are colonizing out, they're adapting in these linguists and trying to use this other language with English to make this silver do stuff. That's kind of the cool sciencey magic aspect that the book has. What most of the focus of the underlying, plot story of the book, though, is about how colonization is bad and all of the horrible effects that it has on peoples, and which that is very true to history in that point. But yeah, okay, I already talked too long about the first book. Let's move on, though. That's what happened with Babel. The next book would be our September Alchemy book called The Depths by Nicole Lesperance. It was a 3.75 stars. In this one, we follow a teenage girl, Addie, who has been kind of coerced. That's not the right word. She's on the vacation with her mother as her mother's honeymoon. And I mean, it's not like she was forced, but pretty much if Addie didn't go with her mom was going to cancel her honeymoon, and she would have felt bad. She couldn't let her mom cancel her honeymoon, so she had to go with her. You don't understand why until you start reading the book, and so I can't really say that because just in the description, reading that, it's really weird. Why would the 17-year-old go on a honeymoon with her mother to a remote tropical island with beautiful color-changing flowers and a mysterious boy that says the island loves you, and that's why its flowers are changing colors? As the description mentioned, there may or may not be a ghost of a little girl that died on the island. Poor Violet is all I have to say, because the little girl's name is Violet. She's 3. It's a 3-year-old ghost, and it is the saddest thing ever until she has a temper tantrum, and then she is scary as mess. Super scary. Also, the way the author writes ghosts. They're not normal. They're not like see-through. They have bodies. They can touch you. They are creepy and gross. So be warned for that. And she does give very descriptors about that. Yes, you will definitely get a lot of details from some things in this book, for sure. I wouldn't say it's too atmospheric, maybe. No, I don't think it's super atmospheric, but those details, and it will give you the creepy vibes as the story progresses. And yeah, the only thing is, if she hadn't lied about some things, other things might not have happened, or we might have found things out sooner and counteracted things. Did not like the epilogue so much. Didn't feel like it fit with the rest of the story that much at all. Oh well, overall though, still a nice read. Did not see the underlying theme of what it was early on, so that was cool. The next book is the first one that had actual witches, and we have our main character is Violet Maxwell, another Violet, and she is a magicless witch. She is a witch though, kind of, because she is born into a witchy family. Like, her whole lineage is witches, magic. And Lincoln Thorne, the North American alpha for the whole North American pack. And the pack is not just werewolves, like he is, that is all shifters. Like, his second in command is a bear. I want to say he's a bear. And that dynamic too. Him and his best friend, they play off each other. They're funny. It's hilarious. And the way them two are, I liked it. I did like it. I love Violet though, because she is already in, how old is she? I think she's turning 30 in the book, and Lincoln's turning 33. Or are they both 33? I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're in their 30s, so she's already a grown woman. She knows what she wants out of life. She understands, you know, her role in her family is, you know, her sisters love her. She's a triplet. And her grandmother loves her. Her mother, though, her mother's all about social status somehow. So, but she loves her job that she does. She also, besides her regular job as like a bartender, she works with kids in the community. So yes, Violet is an awesome, awesome character, for one. I was very nervous about reading this. When I first got it, I wasn't like in the mood for it. It came up on the TBR and I was like, all right, sure. I'm glad I read it because it is fluffy, happy, and also it does deal with a little bit of, like, you know, dark, sad things. But yes, totally would recommend this. 3.75 stars. Yes, yes. I liked it. I like this slightly fluff. A lot of the books this month though, when I put them through the spreadsheet, they all ended up being like 3.75 stars or so. And that's the same for our next one, which is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. This one you see from 4 different perspectives, and they were all childhood friends, and like that's where the story starts, when they are 9 to 13, because they do have a varying age range, but they were all inducted into the Coven at the same time. In this timeline, there have been witches in England forever, and at one point in British history, Her Majesty actually formed a royal coven of its own, and it works alongside the government. So witches were no longer prosecuted per se, because they were all joining the coven and they were safe. So all of these girls joined when they were younger, and then we flash forward 25 years, I believe, and it is showing how their lives have changed. Like, there was a dramatic war within the witch community a few years before you end up in the book, and all the after effects and how it's affected all of them. Overall, I did not like some of the turns that the book did take, especially the end. Like, I don't know if I want to read the next one now because of what the world they did to her. I digress. Overall though, I liked the inclusion of the book. I liked the female power, kind of like, because the dynamic in this world is, of course, that in the witchy world, witches, which are all women, and boys are warlocks. So women are generally born more powerful. The goddesses bless the women with more magical ability than men. And then there's a wrench thrown into that one character actually cannot handle, and that is most of the drama of the book and why bad things happen. So yeah, it was okay. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to want to read the second one because of how she took the end of this book. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, whenever the Shadow Court, I think was the name of it, comes out. The next book is actually another one that had to return to the library, and I think, yeah, it is the lowest one of the month, and that is actually Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I knew going in, I knew it would be different than the movie, right? I knew it, but I liked the movie, okay? And even though I knew it would be different, I was like, it's okay, it'll be fine. However, I don't know, maybe it's just the way, I don't know, but Sally's character was just so unlikable kind of to me. And I understood from my mom's perspective so many of the decisions she was making. She was doing all of this to protect her girls, but then also the way that so many things were different and they just completely changed what happened between the two stories. It was like night and day. Night and day. One of the things that I did like that was a little bit different was that Sally's two little girls were actually older in the book. They were aged up to where they were like teenagers. And I like that dynamic. You started to see through their eyes a little bit, while some of the things were like, whoa. But some of the things though, it's like I liked them being able to have that interaction with their mom as kind of older kids and everything, older teenagers. And just seeing things as different, I suppose. Just being able to see what she was doing for them in some respect. The biggest thing I think with Practical Magic, besides not being able to connect to Sally, was the actual lack of magic. Yeah, I think that was my most upset part. I know Sally never wanted her girls to be around the magic. She wanted normal lives for them, right? She did not want the childhood she had. But the book had so little, even with the ants, everything. Where was that? Okay, yep, that was my issue with that book, so it just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me, that's it. It was fine. Otherwise, she wrote really well, she was beautiful. Sorry if you hear the cat eating behind you. My next book, and the one that came in at the highest, would actually be Dead Man's Hand by James J. Butcher. I did a full review for this, so be sure to go check that out for all the thoughts, but I liked our main character, Grimsby, and the snark and everything, and kind of not exactly on Violet's level with the magiclessness, but Grimsby is not super able to do his powers. Like, I think the description calls him a failed, which, like, it says the flunking out of this department thing. But yeah, he has his reasons, and you feel very bad for him when you figure out what's going on with Grimsby and why all that is happening. But yes, I enjoyed his first entry into it, and as it is the first novel, I do try to like not judge too harshly by some of the decisions made. But yeah, I'm going to be continuing on with this series because it turned out really well. I liked the way things wrapped up, and yet other things moved on into new things to, you know, really make it flow into a whole series. I am hoping to see more of Grimsby's character growth and his issues with magic maybe touched on and find things available. As I said, a full review. So that part I talked about in the review for sure, with spoilers. Maybe in this spoiler? No, maybe. I think I talked about how I wanted Grimsby's growth to go though after the spoilers at least. So you can watch that safely without that. But 4.25 stars. I highly recommend this book. It came out really good. The next book that I got done was The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This one actually only came out at a 3.5 stars. I audiobooked this one though, so I loved the cast of narrators, that it was not just one person or even two. It was an actual ensemble cast, and I loved the differences that they brought and how it gave it a different vibe. I did not like though that even though this was like new adult, like these are all supposed to be 20s, sure, but you know, like older people. They're all graduated college. Some of them are years past college even. And yet, they don't feel very adult. Like at all. Some of their decisions and the drama, it all sounds still like we're reading teenagers. So yeah, there's that. I like the magic system and the variance to the abilities and what we got that happened with their powers. I really like that. The storyline, overall, it seemed okay until the end when it was just like, what? This is not where this has been going. This is whole out of left field, and you throw it in the last chapter. The pacing was not for me either, as it was, you know, there's a whole lot of nothing happening kind of through most of it yet. So this just really probably is not a series I will continue on with, even though the second book just came out. That's a, you know, it's like I can read this and then I can read the new one. Yeah, not probably gonna, maybe eventually, one day. The next book though was Cackle by Rachel Harrison. I also did a video review for this one, so you can check that out. This was another 4 stars. I liked the character growth in this one, and the magic was not super there until later in her journey, as you know, Annie, who just got over this bad breakup and moved to an upstate New York town, and immediately gets drawn into this world with Sophie, who is a very enigmatic person in town, and she just befriends her, and she really needs a friend, and she loves how Sophie is so free and uncaring, even though all the townspeople are kind of weird around her and weirded out by her. But Sophie is exactly kind of what Annie needs. Someone to help her grow into herself, love herself, which is the main theme of this whole book, is that you should, you know, love yourself, be happy with yourself. You can be happy with someone, but don't rely on that all for your happiness. Love yourself. Be able to do for yourself. And that was really what Annie needed. So, yes, love the vibes of this book. Perfect for this time of year. Perfect coziness level for this time of year. And a bit spooky. Not super spooky at all, but there is a bit of a creep factor that does work its way through in some things. And the most unusual and kind of cute animal companion that you could ask for. So go check out the review to find out about that. The next book I read is actually an ARC from NetGalley, which is a huge thank you to them for letting me get that. It did come in at 3.5 stars though for me, but some YA books, that's just the way it's going to be. It's called The Witch and the Vampire by Francesca Flores. It comes out next year. This is supposed to be a queer Rapunzel retelling. So, on that. And also that, you know, it's witches and vampires. Maybe just a little Rapunzel, but only in the fact that one of our main characters has super long hair and is trapped in the attic by her mother. So there's that. They were childhood best friends, which I swear when I first read the description it said they were childhood best friends, and one is seeking to save the other and get her, you know, away from their village and everything. And so for the first half of the book I was like, this is not matching up to the description at all. And then I go back and read the description again and I was like, wait, did I just misremember it, or is this different? Because the description now says, you know, Kai is a witch who has dedicated her training to hunting and slaying vampires, and her childhood best friend Ava was turned into a vampire 2 years ago. And now there's this huge hatred between them as they are forced to work together to do something and reach safety. Okay. So yeah, whole lot of the book, super amount of hatred, vaguely almost justified, but at one point it is more like you're just being stupid and stubborn. Stop acting so brainwashed. Okay, but yeah, it was a very interesting turn that the book took. I will give it that. I did very much enjoy their relationship and how it kind of went from them being best friends, the hatred part, whatever, but how it evolved and how, you know, they did start to just realize how much they liked being around each other, and just the sweetest little things that slowly grew the relationship between them. It was adorable. It really was. And it almost snuck up on them though, and like you could see it and like see the way like they looked or they thought about the other one. And just the little things like, oh, how the light catches on her hair is so gorgeous. Aren't you so cute? And you don't even realize it yet. It's so cute. My next book was another audiobook, and that was All of Us Are Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. I hope you heard me as I was talking to my lap. This one was a 4-star read. And this one is also witches, and in this world, town, magic is a more finite, well, high magic, as there are two types. Common, which everybody has, and high magic, which has become much more finite in the world. Except in this town, where there's a competition that they have kept secret for generations, in which every time there is a blood moon, the 7 families there compete to control the town's high magic, which is very abundant. And it's not just competing, it's like Hunger Games, but slightly older. I described it as aged up once, but like, they're not actually age-wise older. They don't have to be. They don't get like super young like Rue, not that. But mentally, most of the characters do seem mentally older than what we saw in the Hunger Games, and you see through 4 perspectives out of the 7 contestants. So you kind of knew from that, at least some of the ones that were going to be surviving. It was interesting though, I will give it that. I love the dynamic between some of them. One of our main characters was super self-righteous, which got a little tiring, just a little. And the others though, that was interesting. The main story, of course, is this competition and the pressure of their families and everything, trying to be able to win it for their families as they go in knowing they're going to die. And, all of them be like, I'm going to win. I'm the strongest. So, yeah, there was that. But then this subplot that was like under it that you didn't really see. You kind of, you questioned a little bit as you're going through it, but you didn't see or put it, I didn't think about it or I didn't think it would come into play in this book. I was like, when it happened, oh, okay, I saw him pulling the strings, but okay. So I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed some of our character interactions and the way things happened for them, and just the way it played out and how they dealt with all of it. I enjoyed it. I want to read the next one for sure. And the last book for October is the second in, I don't think the series has a name. Gravesglen? I don't know. But it comes after The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling, which came out around last Halloween. And this book, again, takes place around Halloween. So perfect fall feels for the now. Both of our characters are again witches. This one is following Gwen, though. It's not exactly a sequel because we are following different characters, but they are having to deal with the ripple effects of what happened in the XX. But I love Gwen. I love her personality, her confidence, all of that. Even if she describes it herself as it could be a blessing or a fatal flaw, that she believes in every plan with 110% confidence. Nothing's going to go wrong. Until later, then she starts to think about it and think, oh, maybe that was a little bit too much confidence to give it. Oh well, gonna follow it through. As she takes in, her group of baby witches, which they're all college students there at Pembroke, and it's just, yes, as she starts to dread the responsibility word, but slowly, takes on more. And Llewellyn Penhallow moves from England to Gravesglen for reasons. First book, reasons, things, ripples, yes. And they've only briefly met before. So I will say that the romancy, feeling-y part maybe did happen a tad bit quickly for him to be saying, that this woman is my world, I love her. Oh well, whatever. The romance, though, between them and how they went from competitors and to bringing out like the better parts of each other, it's just, that part was nice. I did like that, and how they're trying to figure out, their life. I can say that without it being a spoiler because obviously it's gonna be a romance. Come on. Super cozy vibes. Loved it. Loved their interactions, and Sir Percival the talking cat, was of course amazing. He was adorable. Overall, I'm super happy with all of my witchy, spooky books that I got to in October. Like, I do wish I'd been able to get to that last one on the TBR, because that's the one I've been wanting to for forever now, and just haven't. But oh well, we will get to it. We will do it. Yeah. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I would love to know how your October shaped up. Did you finish your TBR, or at least get done with the one you wanted to the most? And how is November looking? I'm hoping you guys are finding something awesome to read today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!